through her visual and written work. Deeply passionate and about preserving musical heritage, she is best known for her 5-volume book series, Blues Portraits, A Profile of the Australian Blues Scene, which documents the stories, struggles and triumphs of blues musicians across the country. Through in-depth interviews and photography, Bailey has created a rich archive of the people and places that shape the blues genre in Australia. Her connection to the Melbourne Blues Appreciation Society, it's a mouthful, isn't it, has been central to her music-related endeavours. In recognition of her dedication to chronicling and promoting the blues community, she received the prestigious Allan Stafford Award for services to blues music in 2024. That's pretty special. Pauline's work transcends traditional boundaries, blending her talents as an artist and storyteller to celebrate the soul of Australian blues, whether through portraits of legendary performers or narratives that explore the cultural heartbeat of live music venues. She continues to be a vital voice in documenting and championing blues music in Australia. Please welcome Miss Pauline Bailey. All right, and we also have Will. No, Will, come on up here. I don't know, I didn't do any research about you, but maybe you can introduce yourself.
Rock and roll. Are we on? We're good? Well, I'm 33 years old and my name's Willie J, and yeah, I'm from Melbourne, and it's awesome to be in Sydney. It's my second time at the Butcher's Brew, and it's a privilege to be in Pauline Bailey's book. Oh yeah! Test some 1, 2.
I think, I'm not sure which one you're in, but just feel with those faders and do it.
Check.
So I
Check 1, 2. Yeah. On that one. Yeah. We're good? Yeah. Awesome.
Geez, you think a sound check would be pretty easy, just through the microphone.
Well, I've been playing guitar since I was 2 years old. I picked up the guitar in Castlemaine on a porch at my uncle's house, and I've been playing ever since. I started my first band when I was 13 years old, and I've probably been through about 25 bands since then. And now I play in a band called the 6v6ers, and yeah, it's awesome. So I've just been doing music full time for about 5 years now, and you know, there's no other way I would do it.
Can I just ask, is that 6v6s because of the tubes?
Certainly is. Yeah, a lot of people.
You don't like the 6L6s? Like, sorry, we've got a big guitar nerdy now.
Oh, the KT, we got the Marshalls, but
any tube is better than no tube, right? Absolutely.
You need it. Now we all play all valve amps, so we know we're bringing the heat, and that's we like it loud, so it works with the band.
I'm so glad to hear. The youth have got it right. Fantastic, well done. Keep going. Hope I get to catch you a bit later. So, Pauline, tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I've just told everyone.
I told you the big overview. I think I'm in 4, and you must be 3. Just
Testing.
Get a bit closer.
Testing. How's that? Better?
Use that one.
Better?
Use my one. Mine's a lot louder.
There you go.
it's the mic. It is the mic.
Yes, it's your resonance, dude.
Perfection in the house.
He doesn't need a mic.
Well, where do I start? I guess I could start when I was 40. I started painting. I went back to school and got my diploma in art and Cert 4 in art, and that painting path led me down the writing path because I met a person in Melbourne called Kim Boltman, who's a Melbourne musician, and we got together, and he actually purchased a painting, and we got together and worked on his autobiography. He didn't know what he was doing, I didn't know what I was doing, and put together this book, which was very successful. And from there I thought, well, I wouldn't mind interviewing some other people, see if anyone else wants to tell their story. So Just began the process of interviewing people, and before I knew it, I had 46 people that said yes, including Don Turner, Diesel, Jeff Atchison, all, very well regarded people, and released that book in 2019, and just kept going, and now I'm up to volume 5 because people keep saying yes. Pretty much.
It's amazing, and you know what? You're just going to keep going, aren't you?
I think so. I do have another one on the go because my list keeps getting bigger instead
Can we
of smaller.
suggest some more people? all our friends.
Most of our friends are already in them. aren't they?
Yeah, I want Caroline Packer in it.
Oh yeah. There's just so many people that keep finding more and more people. So yeah, and it's been a great thing to work on. Everybody has been easy to deal with. No one's been difficult.
Was there any particular Australian blues artist that really drew you in, that attracted you in initially?
Well, I guess Southern Lightning was the band that really flipped the switch for me, Melbourne band. They're still playing nowadays, but Chris Wilson had a huge impact on me. His voice, just blew me away. And I was lucky to interview him just before he passed away, 12 days before he passed away, for the first book. So, he gave me that time. He didn't have much time left, and he gave time to me. So, very blessed to have that.
An amazing musician, and I think some recordings still to be released of Chris.
Really? Yeah.
There's one that Roscoe Clark and etc. did down in the basement a few years ago. That's going to come out too, but I've been fortunate enough to hear it in Roscoe's car driving back from Thredbo.
But his sons too, they're just magnificent singers, both of them, George and Ben. You've played with George, haven't you?
Yeah. I love George. He's another left-handed guitar player as well. And just like every time I feel his vibe, and he's got his dad's vibe, is the same as Fen. They don't sound identical, but it's so awesome that Chris has completely rubbed off on them. It's the best, and they've just. They're stars. They've just got they're stars. They're unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. And doing it their own way too. They're not.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they're just following their own path.
I actually wrote down a few questions here because just we didn't want to have awkward silences or anything. And they have been vetted. No, so we got the Blues Portrait series offers a rare and intimate glimpse into the lives of Australian blues musicians. What has been the most surprising or moving stories you uncovered during this journey, and were there any that were just not fit for publication?
Well, yeah, there were a couple of those. There was one by a drummer actually. This didn't go in the book, but he rang up and said, I've got to tell you this story. It's not going in the book, but I've got to tell you in person. So he rang up all about someone chucking up on his drum kit and him then having to go on stage and play. So you can imagine what happened every time he hit the drums. And he was just in stitches telling me about this story. So you do get a few funny things like that.
That is hilarious.
That happens, so, yeah.
Disgustingly hilarious, yes. And what about the most inspiring or moving stories? Because I must admit, like I was surprised because I read as much of that as I could, and it was about pretty much all of it because there's so many great, interesting artists in that, and plus the great tribute to Allan at the back as well, which is really moving. And the thing that I noticed was like I was reading about like Simon Kenny Lewis. I've known Simon Kenny Lewis for like decades. We grew up together, when way back when we were like in our early 20s and that. And I've spoken to him so many times, and yet you managed to elicit a story that I've never heard him mention. I thought I'd heard all of his freaking stories. But he's the story of how his older brother went to an Eric Clapton concert. That's just brilliant. For those of you that don't know, you need to read it, but his older brother goes because he really loved the guitar and was like, his brother was playing guitar, and his brother came back from Eric Clapton, and his brother just like bullshitted this great story about Eric Clapton pointing to him because he shouted out, Eric Clapton's God, and then there's bolt of lightning came out and hit his brother, and then his brother had the blues power. But I love that whole like the mythology about it, you know. It was so
paints a
brilliant.
picture, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And that's you know, blues has been built on mythology and legend
Yeah.
and stories. And that's I thought that was the most endearing part of every story that every musician had. They had their own little reasons, and you have a very easy way of doing it. Like I know when you sent me all the interview questions, etc., and we're going backwards and forwards, you just have a very easy manner of bringing out everything. You know, getting to people to open up. How have you mastered that?
I have no idea. I just chat to people on the phone, and they tell me all sorts of things. It
It's
just
like a spell or
amazes me.
something.
But it amazes me how honest people are and how they just want to tell their stories. So perhaps people haven't had the opportunity. And also, I run it past them before anything goes to print. So if they want to change anything, I don't mind. You know, I'm not going to impose myself on the work in any way. I like it to come across in their own words, and I'm happy for them to. If they're happy, I'm happy, basically.
It does remind me of some legendary autobiographies that I've read of musicians like Miles Davis's and B.B. King's, where it does feel as if you're just listening to that actual individual speak directly to you.
Yeah.
And that's really the best way, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a very direct communication method.
Yeah, that was the appealing thing to me, to do it that way. I just wanted people to feel they were talking to them.
How about everyone else? So, how about you, Michelle? Did you feel that? Did you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the questions were quite, the way that they were focused sort of made you feel comfortable, and that you could sort of divulge a bit of extra information about yourself. That even, like I've been with these guys since 1992, playing, that there's probably stuff in there that they don't know about myself, especially when I was younger, when I first sort of started music, my background around sort of how music evolved for me. So yeah, 100%. It's a little bit confronting, I guess, a little way, because you think, oh, people are going to like it.
Yeah.
I must admit, I had pangs of being totally like, oh man, I'm just like, no one's going to want to know all this junk about me.
Exactly, 100%.
It's like, man,
But when you see it, and I've read other people, it's actually, I feel that connection, and there's a lot of similarities. I find in these little bits and pieces of people's past.
Yeah.
100%.
yeah, there do seem to be common themes amongst most musicians. Charlie Muswell, Tom Emanuel's, all of them.
Quite a lot. And then big Stevie Ray Vaughan
Yeah.
influence.
Yeah.
And from a very young age.
Well,
So
both of
yeah.
you.
Absolutely, yeah. Stevie Ray opened the door for me,
Yep.
you know, and at the time it was rather difficult because the Sydney Blues Society was run by a whole bunch of anti-Stevie
Yes.
Ray Vaughan individuals. It was almost like, if you come to the blues jam, don't you dare play a Stevie Ray Vaughan song. That's white man's blues. It was like, hang on, it's a racist thing now?
I changed that.
You challenged that, yeah, I remember it was very
They nearly
difficult.
threw me out.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Julie. That was so
I was the
unfair.
one that said, no, you've got to promote the younger bands with a heavier style as well.
And sorry, we're straying a bit from topic
No,
here,
but
but
it's
Sydney
all
Blues Society, I believe,
100%.
suffered dramatically as a result. I felt alienated myself,
Yep.
and I know that a lot of other musicians who also, like Ray Beadle came up playing Stevie Ray Vaughan. So did Simon Kenny Lewis, so did Adam Pringle. And you know what? So did Aidan Glover. So do all the new guys. So does Ewan Lund. And the point is, good music's good music. Good music's good music, you know? Amen, you know?
Amen, brother.
And Duke Ellington actually said there's only two types of music, good and bad. And then he actually said, and I like both. I love that guy.
And can I just add, being an older gal, that Stevie Ray, who I also adore, was heavily inspired by Jimi Hendrix. So
Absolutely.
that beautiful handing on, and you know, all of us discover the blues, and then you know, something in us goes, yes, I want to do
That's right. And I like, because I was, when I was when I first heard Stevie Ray Vaughan, doesn't matter when that happened, but up until that point, I'd only been listening to a lot of you know, you hear in the book, Van Halen and all of the, you know, all of the heavy metal stuff that was, well, it wasn't even heavy metal, but whatever it was, cock rock, hair rock, whatever you want to call it. And that was like, oh, it was the only guitar you could hear on the radio, really. But then someone gave me a Stevie Ray Vaughan tape, and that was it. And it wasn't just I listened to Stevie Ray Vaughan, although of course I did. It was like, well, what did he listen to? And that's when you found all the Kings, Albert, Freddie and BB, and then you found Muddy, and then that's it. And then there's this lifelong love of everything blues. You find gospel, you find everything, right?
But not only that, all those people that everyone looks up to, they all looked up to someone as well.
That's right.
So it's not like they're the top of the tree, they all look up to someone as well.
And I believe that the Melbourne Blues Appreciation Society, you guys have been around for about as long as the Sydney Blues Society. In 1990, I started.
We were
I think
92.
so,
92.
Yeah, so it's about in about the same period. But you guys went straight up. Well, we sort of like seemed to go up, and then, and only recently we've managed to sort of like restart the gears and stuff, and opening the doors really wide and letting everyone in. Because is that how you guys did it in Melbourne? We kind of like, you know, we're struggling to kind of like get members in. How did you manage to do that, Danny?
I don't have a lot to do with it. You know, I don't get down there very often because I'm 3 hours from Melbourne.
Yeah, in Gippsland.
But the people that run it do a fabulous job, and they're very inclusive. You know, they have lots of different acts on every week. Not just blues. There a lot of crossovers.
There you go. People of the Sydney Blues Society, take note. Oh, that's me. Oh, damn it. That's all right.
And younger performers too.
But that's all right. I've only been on the board for a couple of years. But which brings me to the next question, which is the Melbourne Blues Appreciation Society has recognised your contributions with the Allan Stafford Award. How has your relationship with the MBAS evolved over the years?
Well, as I say, I haven't really had a hell of a lot to do with them. John and his wife actually came to an exhibition, and they were very keen for me to come to their Christmas party. And I said, we live 3 hours away, we'll try. And they were very persistent. So we said, no, we'll go. So I went down there. And of course they presented me with the award. I had no idea. Everyone else knew. Everyone had already knew. I had no idea. So that's why they were keen for me to come to the Christmas party. But it was just such a validation of what I was doing. It just made me feel like I'm doing something good here.
Feel like you're coming into the community more?
Yeah. It just felt very appreciated.
That's brilliant. And furthering on, I guess we've answered the question really. MBAS has worked because they build a community.
Yes, yeah.
And it's a very inclusive community
Yep.
rather than an exclusive community. And that's really the lesson here, isn't it?
Yeah. But there are lots of little blues jams around Melbourne, and lots of the same people go to all these different jams and events, and they're just very supportive. It's a really supportive community, and we see them up in Broadbeach, Chuka, any blues festival you go to, all these people rock up.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how about you, Will? You're obviously involved with the MBAS down there as well. How have you found it?
It's awesome, man. It's really good. Like me and my brother, that's where we learned how to cut our teeth. That was the place to be. I believe, Forkner in Music Land is where I think MBAS was there for a little bit, and then my dad, which I'm sure you guys know a man called Barry Maxwell.
Yes.
So that's so I'm his son. So he's obviously done a lot for blues as well, and he got me and my brother jamming, and it really helped my playing with older cats and people that really know their way around their instruments. So it's been nothing but a blessing for me, and that's definitely where I've had a lot of inspiration from, and I still jam with those dudes, and it's really cool to feel it's like when I get to put my own shows on at a place called the Thornbury Bowls Club. My dad runs the Shake Shack. When I get to play there, it's really awesome. So it's the best thing. yeah, it's been super beneficial for my career for sure.
So there's sort of like, you feel as if there's a bit of a mentoring approach that's happening down there?
Definitely.
That's brilliant, yeah, that's great.
And if you want to learn rhythm and you want to learn 12 bar, go down and have a blues jam, and you'll have cats that'll know what they're doing, and I honestly think that that's the best way to learn.
Absolutely, by doing.
Oh
Being
yes,
out
you
there
gotta
and
do
doing. Absolutely, I love it.
And it's ageless, you know. You see young people playing with older people, and no one cares. The older guys don't care that they're young people don't care that they're playing with older people.
It's just that one love, blues music,
yeah.
it brings everyone together.
I must admit, I run a jam, as some of you may know, for a little while here. But I run a few. But anyway, it's not about me. What I wanted to speak about was the fact that I get most joy when I see young people coming to my jams and showing an interest that they've just discovered blues, and I can like point them to, say, Etta James or, you know, little known art, and they just like totally get turned on. And that to me is the whole point of running a jam, is like, you know, another old white guy that plays a bit of guitar, is semi-retired, you know, it's like, you guys are like a dime a dozen. No offense to anyone that's but you know, like the future of music is in the youth, and if we do not have any youth in any of our music societies, then it's doomed. They're all doomed. Hearing Will talk about music so passionately, it just fills me with such, well, optimism.
That's what it's about, man. I mean, that's what we want to do when after the show, when I see young kids come up to me and just say, now I want to play AC/DC, now I want to play Guns N' Roses. It's like, that's what it's about. That's how I was inspired, and that they still love that. We've got to keep rock and roll, we've got to keep the soul, we've got to keep the blues alive, and they're the ones to do it.
And do you teach?
I do teach, yeah. I teach from age bracket of 14 to 61, and it's awesome. It's the best. It's very funny. You know, it's very inspiring when someone will message me on Facebook or send me a text saying that I stopped playing guitar for 10 years, but now I watched you play and I want to pick up the guitar again. I was like, I love that, and thank you so much, and let's rock and roll. Like that's what I want. If I encourage you to pick it up again, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Okay, maybe both of you could answer this, because it's about the Melbourne, but also more widely the Australian blues scene. How do you feel it's changed since, you know, over the course of the years? Do you think it's on the up, on the down? Is it?
Well, I'm twice your age, so I guess I've seen a few more changes.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's maybe not as heavy as it was. You know, the music was a lot heavier back in the 70s, and a bit more on edge.
Rock influence.
Yeah, but you know, there's more influences coming in, I guess. But I think there's just less younger people.
It's still,
yeah.
That's what I've seen, is the demographics seem to
dropped off.
Yeah. Like looking at, say, the Thredbo Blues Festival as an example. Like, been going there for 20 years, have we? And yeah, I remember when we first going, it was packed, and I'm still seeing the same faces, but there's no younger people to come up. So the crowds are going down, obviously, as people are aging and less are turning up. But we need to kind of, once again, we need the younger generation to come up and fill the bridge. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things, and I'm sure of it. I know that there's these amazing guitar players, like girls and guys, that are just sitting in their bedroom, and they're probably great singers, and they don't have the courage to go and do a blues jam. I know I can feel that there's this vibe, and I guess what we really need to do is just like get them out of the bedroom and just be like, hey, like this is where everyone kind of started, and I can just feel that. Yeah, it's funny. It's I guess I love being on stage, so it's kind of hard for me to put myself in that position. I've always wanted to be a rock and roller on the stage. That's my dream. So I guess we need to find those people that are in the bedroom and bring them out and rock and roll. I think that I
think
can
you're
just,
right,
I can just feel, I don't know, I can feel that there's something.
Oh, yeah, they're out there.
They're out
They're
there,
No, I truly agree with you, and it is sort of like the eternal question, like how do you get people to come out, especially in a time when there's so many reasons to stay at home. Netflix or how many other streaming services you can think of. You can do playing games, all of this. Go to the flicks, but live music has always been there, and I feel as if we've got to remind people how important music is.
Definitely.
And it's really difficult to do that online. It's really difficult to get people online, to hook them in. You need to do it in person. You can only do it in person, really. Because it's really easy to be flaky and like be really, oh yeah, I'm cool, I'm down for that, and then just be flake out and like not turn up for shit, right? We do it all the time on Facebook. Oh yeah, I'm going to that event, I'm going to that event. You don't turn up, right? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But once you actually meet someone face to face, and that's a bit of a different experience, isn't it? It's a
Definitely.
Yeah, it's easier to kind of like inspire people face to face than online. In fact, online is very difficult to achieve anything, really.
Well, it is. I mean, you can put up a Facebook event that says 80 people interested, and then you've got 15 people at your show. You're like,
Hey, you're doing well.
What's your secret?
But I think the thing for that is like if that people will buy tickets or whatnot if they see what they're kind of what they have in store. I guess it's one of those things. And I'm putting on a festival at the moment called Maximum Rock at Maxwell in Melbourne. It's an 850 capacity room. We've got bands, rock and roll bands from all over Australia. So, but yeah, I'm in that mindset now. I'm
That is like, can I just applaud that?
Thank you, George. Thank you. We've sold 45 tickets so far, and it's 3 months out, so that's not too bad.
No, it's all right.
And the Hives are playing in Melbourne that night too at the Forum, so I don't know if that will change anything, but if they finish early, we're going till midnight, so we'll keep the rock and roll going, and there's a lot of good bands playing too.
The fact that you have that initiative and that drive to kind of like put on, like that's a pretty big risk that you're taking, man. But like great on, like you're backing yourself, and that's really good to see.
Oh man, I've got to, and the thing is that the challenge that I have is I want to sell 250 tickets to people that have never even heard these bands. That's what I want to do. That's the hard thing. So it's like it's already a challenge trying to fill that room. But then to find 250 people that have never heard these bands, and they are quite well known in Melbourne, and there's a band called Legs Electric, all-female rock band from Perth that haven't been in Melbourne for 4 years. So I want to take it to that next level, and I don't mind putting this pressure on myself. I love it. Because I'm passionate about it. This is what we want to do.
Yeah, brilliant.
But you've got to believe in what you're doing. That's what I did. I mean, I just put my ass on the line and thought, this is a great idea, and paid to publish this book. I didn't go through a publisher. That was all on me. So if it didn't work, it didn't work. But I've just been lucky that people got on board and supported it, because I just wanted to share all these people that I loved watching before. I wanted to see everyone. I wanted anyone to see them. So I thought this is a way of doing it.
Yeah, and brilliant. It's absolutely. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you.
And speaking of your art, because you were kind enough to send me some beautiful.
Can I just pull this out? Look at these. I'm not sure if any of you have seen it, but this is some of the artwork that you do. And they're of venues in
Yeah,
Melbourne.
mainly venues. Yeah, all sorts of buildings. Mainly buildings.
But
So, did you?
Lily, yeah.
You know them obviously.
No,
I'm looking
no,
at them.
really
Wow, these
tight,
places
very
look
well.
cool.
This guy did. Was it a year residency at Lily?
Yeah, we
last
did
year?
a year and 3 months in total.
Yeah.
Every Thursday night we played at Lily Tavern. I wanted to keep it going, but yeah, it was good to change it up. And I haven't been there for almost 4 or 5 months, and it feels great because I've done my time there, and I'll probably go back. But they're all super lovely there. But if you're ever in Melbourne, Lily Tavern. It's a very kind of like American looking bar, and it sounds great, and the staff are lovely there. So in Abbotsford. Yeah. So it's
Right.
it's awesome.
Abbotsford, you know that one? I remember
Yeah,
doing a
Collingwood.
gig, a tiny little bar speck in the back of some place. I can't even remember the name of it. It was a crazy man. He was crazed, man. Him and his girlfriend, Russian girlfriend or something. Oh man, it was a bet night in Melbourne all those years ago.
That's why you don't remember it.
I don't remember any of it, but I remember it was Abbotsford, man. Ooh, that's crazy. It was with Terry Sweeney. That's going back. It's going back a long time. But getting back to the artwork of these venues. So most of these venues, some of them are no longer around.
Yeah, and that's it. I wanted to capture them before they disappeared, and a lot of them have. You know, that's the sad thing about it.
Despite, I know that there have been some petitions, etc., to try and keep some of these venues open. They were unsuccessful, unfortunately.
Yeah, there was one really big one, a big rally for the tote a few years ago. I was there front and centre, and they saved it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But that's like, seriously, like we had the basement shut down here, like an iconic venue. Nothing could stop that. We had the Sando, the Sandringham, CBA wanted that. We couldn't stop that. We marched. It's sort of like in Sydney, we only march to one beat, and that is, how much money can this property gain? It's a horrible game. But yeah.
So I was preserving them in my own little way, I
Yeah, good on you.
suppose.
Good on you. That's brilliant. Because Will and myself will totally concur that a great venue deserves to be heritage listed, just like they do in London, right? Ronnie Scott's, that's been heritage listed. Otherwise, that would have gone, because it's in the heart of London, right? Who could afford to kind of pay those rents if they had to, right? So that was protected. Maybe that's something that we should be doing here too, right?
Yeah.
Protecting our culture,
And that's what it is, protecting the culture, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And I feel as if all of the aspects of our culture are slowly being devalued one by one. Music was one of the ones that was devalued very quickly with the streaming services, for example. So back in my day, and I think I did discuss it in the book, but I'll rattle on about it a bit more. Why not? But I basically, my thoughts are that when I was younger and I wanted to listen to music, I had to go and find a record shop, go in, hope that the record shop had the record I was looking for, or the genre I was looking for. And blues was a very limited genre in most record stores back then. Do you remember record stores, Will?
I certainly do.
Fantastic. I'm glad you're
Your
still
dad
with
would have
us.
had a big collection anyway. You didn't have
He
to go to
does,
a record store.
I'm lucky enough to have half his record collection, but all the blues stuff is like, I'm keeping all the blues stuff. So I've got all this rock and roll stuff.
Right.
Blues, mine. Dad, we didn't have a record player.
That's right, and it was like $30 or $10 for an LP, and then CDs came, and they were either $30 or $10, whatever. But eventually we got the downloads. We still had to pay for them. And I was thinking, downloads, that's great. That's a great distribution method that's free, virtually. And then they came up with streaming, and then that was it. Because all of a sudden, you didn't have to go trek into the city or wherever, or order online, or do anything. All you had to do was not even pay, really. Spotify, you had to cop a few ads, and you could listen to any recorded music ever in the history of humanity. That's insane. Of course it's devalued, because all of a sudden you got it for free. And, back in the day when I buy some music, I would cherish it. I'd listen to it over and over and over again, listen to a whole album, read the credits, know what musicians played what. Now that's all gone. Absolutely, Luke.
So like, the film industry, right? They've done the same thing. So how are they still so successful? And actors get paid the right amount of money, and
How? Indeed. The reason is Netflix actually go and pay people to make their films, but no one's going, like, it's not as if Spotify is going and they actually have this plan.
CEOs are billionaires.
But Spotify aren't kind of going and giving $50 million to Will and say, hey, go make 10 albums.
Exactly.
They're not doing that. They're just hoping that Will's going to go off his own bat, invest his own money in it, and then go and beg Spotify, please put my thing on a song list so at least I can get a few more plays than 100, right? And the problem is, unless you're with a major or you're an actual big legacy star, you're not going to make any money off streaming. So my point is, here, how about we do this? You put one song on the streaming services, just one, your best one, or the one that you want to give away for free, and the rest of it, you make people pay for that stuff.
Because
I don't know.
you can say, well, you do discover lots of music on Spotify, you know, it does send you down the path and you find other stuff, but people still don't buy.
No.
They just listen, they might discover more stuff, but they won't buy.
They will buy if they come to your gig.
Yeah.
That's where they do buy, right?
But that one song, that's a great idea.
But yeah, look, and I actually stole this idea from Dom Turner. When I had Dom Turner as a guest at the Rocks and Jam, he sent me all these songs, and I tried to find them on the streaming services, and they're not anywhere. And you have to go to his website and download them and listen to them. I'm just going, that's actually a great idea, you know. Anyway, because really, the streaming services, I know they said they were going to help us out, but they just screwed us in the, you know what. So, painfully and continuously, without any dinner or lube. Crazy. No rewards. Anyway, sorry to kind of go down that dark road of semi-political talk, but you know, we need to preserve our culture, and music is a very, very big part of it. Just as our venues are, like Butcher's Brew Bar here. You know, it's how long have you been going for, Caroline? 7 years, right? You know, well done. Yeah, so we need to preserve every part, every aspect of our culture. What else have I written here? Oh, it's more to do with cultural legacies and stuff. Let's move on. Shall we move on? Oh, this is good. Blues music often tells stories of struggle, resilience, and soul. How do you try to capture these themes in your visual and written work?
Oh, well, with the written work, I guess it's the work is done for me because they give me their stories, and they're kind enough and generous to give me their stories.
I guess we covered the way that you managed to get that out. But what about in your actual in your artwork? How do you when you're capturing? Is it just a feeling that you're trying to get?
Yeah, trying to capture that feeling of what it was like in that venue, you know. And people that buy the works say the memories all come back to them when they see it. You know?
That's great. Oh, that's brilliant.
That's my aim, to capture that feeling.
Well, that's art, isn't it? Art is the whole point of art is to communicate a feeling and move someone to empathise with what you've just displayed. That's brilliant. I must admit, I was moved enough that I need to go down to Melbourne after looking at these venues that are down there. I haven't been there since COVID. So, do you have a place I can crash, Will?
I certainly do. I live in Kensington, which is close to North Melbourne. So all the bars are like Lily Tavern. It's only like 15 minutes away. So George, let's play some rock and roll together.
Fantastic, brother. Let's do it. I can't wait. I know winter's coming, but I don't know. I've got a few winter coats. I'll come down.
Come on down.
I'm very well know. I do.
Ties.
What else do we have here? Oh, okay. As someone deeply embedded in both the music and art communities, what challenges have you observed in keeping grassroots blues alive in Australia?
It's a hard one.
Oh, I feel like Parkinson now.
Deeply embedded. Oh, I don't know about that. I just do my thing. I'm just doing what I do.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't kind of like think about any of the struggles or any, like, for example, when say a community is fighting for their venue to remain open, do you feel moved by
Oh
that?
yeah,
So
absolutely,
sometimes that's
yes. Yeah. And the Palace Theatre, that was one case in point in Melbourne that just got trashed. That you know, they got in before they were meant to, and everything was destroyed. Yeah. Once they're gone, they're gone.
But you did also talk about the legacy, like young people. You know, I think that is an ongoing issue.
How do you attract them? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other night there was the beginners jam that Sydney Blues Society had started. Canberra doing the same. They run very differently. a young guy that was really scared and he kept going, no. And I just said, just do it, pick 3 notes. And he did a solo. And he goes, oh, all right. And I went, go on. No one's judging, just do it. And he did it. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was a young
That's
guy.
what it's about.
And it just tried
Absolutely.
to encourage.
And just giving them a little tip. They need some, just a little bit of knowledge. Just like, hey, just play simple. And we were fortunate enough last Tuesday to have Adam Pringle. You know Adam? Hit single Pringle. He's a legend up here. Yeah, you'll meet him, I'm sure. But I've known him for a very long time as well. And he gave a little blues workshop. And one of the best things that he said was, just make it sound good. Like whether it's the way that you pick, whether it's the way that you make it, always be aware of how it sounds, because that's important. And I think that's very important for a beginner, because they always thinking about, what scale, what chord. And he's like, don't worry about the complexity of what you're doing. Worry more about how it sounds.
Absolutely.
That's so true, right? Because especially as guitarists, we want to shred, we want to play a million notes, right? And play them really loud. And really the crowd's just there going, what's wrong with him? What? While, another guitarist gets up and they just play one note, just really with intention, with purpose, right? And it sounds big and great. And they move everyone.
I totally agree with you.
It's so true, right? I think, so, and I'm actually, that's my new mantra to all my beginner jammers. It's like, make it sound good. Just get out of your head and you listen back here,
But someone the other day said to me, because I have done a couple of sneaky interviews for the next book, anyway, said to me, the most important thing is not about the notes and all getting it perfect. Be yourself, be you, because there's only one you. So sound like yourself, and I've never thought of it that way.
Sally, you don't have to raise your hand.
Such an ex-school teacher, right? A friend of mine who's also a fan, and she worked in the UK music industry for 25 years and has met everybody. And she said to me one time, Sally, fans don't just like your music, they actually love your soul. And I went, whoa, that was really big. So, that thing about being authentic and just trying to express yourself, right? This is how I feel. It's bound to reach people. So I just thought that was a really interesting thing to say.
I think you're absolutely right.
About what you're doing, how many notes you're playing,
That's right.
What
Being authentic and presenting an authentic, something authentic, an authentic communique,
As a punter, I was influenced by the blues by Sally and her sister Bridie. I'd be like,
the King Sisters.
The King
King Sisters.
Pioneers of women, of pioneers of women's blues. So, I think we're about 10 years apart, but, and as a 21-year-old, I was seeing you and Bridie just going, I remember being a barmaid and dropping the glasses when I heard Bridie play Big Tune. I was like, what the fuck is that music? I was like, oh my God. So just your soul's the inspiration, like every Friday night, Champions. Every Friday I couldn't get enough.
Why didn't you ever come and say hello?
I was too scared.
And getting back to that authenticity, it's also authenticity, and then like what I also found in the book, that it's a common thread amongst all the musicians, is this certain humility and humbleness about what they do. There's no overblown egos or sense of like, what I'm doing is so important. It's just this, I just like what I do and I hope people like it too. And how do you feel about that, Will? I think that...
Well, definitely. It's the humble don't stumble.
I love that one, brother. The humble don't stumble. Yeah, that's a goodie.
My friend Wes told me that, and as soon as I heard that, I was like, that's so good.
So good, man. The humble don't stumble.
I was waiting for this moment to say
freaking gold, man.
There'll be 50 songs now, the humble don't stumble.
The humble don't stumble.
That's killer.
But yeah, I think, you know, just be encouraged by people and don't think you're trying to reinvent the wheel. You know, just try to, as you were talking about, like be you, and that's what keeps you humble.
Yeah. And like I must admit, I love all forms of music, even jazz, and Victor Wooten, even jazz, right? And Victor Wooten, one of the best bass players I've ever seen live, and unfortunately he suffers from dystonia now, which is horrible. But he has a lot of learning videos out there, and some of the stuff he's just sitting there and he just goes, man, don't try and be like me, because there's only one Victor Wooten here. Be like yourself, because there's only one of you. And that's like the best bass player I've ever seen. And he's like, man, don't try and be that guy like me that's like shredding all over. Just be that guy that's the solid bass player. You know, that's more important than trying to be me. Be you. And I think that, as you said, the humble don't stumble. They teach, right?
They 100% teach us. Like I played Tamworth this year. I had 12 shows there with a band called Uncle Bob's Jug Band, but I got to meet Troy Casadale, and he's the most loveliest dude ever. And like I've met a lot of older musicians and professionals that are so humble, and it's like you want to look up to them. That's what it's about. That keeps you grounded. And also I've got friends saying, I've known you for 15 years, like don't be, you know, just that they keep you grounded as well, friends too. So it's a beautiful thing. The humble don't stumble.
The humble don't stumble.
I gotta write a song now.
You have to, man. You have to.
We all can collaborate.
Oh, look, they're just writing lyrics right now. Look at them.
They're talking about people. I was a primary school teacher, and one day I thought I'll play the festival song, a few CDs, and I went in there and the kid was so naughty. It's like, oh yeah, humbleness is
That's it. And then we can all collaborate together and get $3.50 from that.
You can actually, you know,
20
on the
cents.
B-side, humility is no futility. You know? How are we going for time, Caroline? We've still got a bit of time. What time's the next band up? 4:30. You're in it. That's good. All right, so we have a few. Wait, I've got one more question, but I think I've thought of another one. But what future projects are you working on that continue to explore, celebrate the blues genre, and what do you hope they will achieve?
Well, I've got number 6 on the go because it's still a work in progress and there's too many great people that I've missed out on. So working on that. Just continuing with the art, you know, which I love. That's my relaxation.
How do you find your artists? How do you go about finding the
Musicians.
artists, the musicians for your book?
I do get a few suggestions here and there, so they get put away on the list, you know. But I just go by gut feeling. If I see someone and I think, yeah, they're great, you know, and they look like they'll be an interesting person, you know. So I just go by gut feeling, really.
Do you feel a connection?
Yeah. Lots of people have become good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
which is lovely.
That's
I mean,
so-
Tony Cheney and his wife put us up at their beautiful place last night, drove us here today, which is a lovely meal. I met Tony through doing an interview.
And Dan drove all the way out from Kiama.
He did indeed, Dan Sullivan. Yeah.
You know, you could have just, what? He took you to by the airport.
Any chance in number 6 you could put, no one asked to be in these books, because I've been asked 5 times, did you ask to be in these books?
I can do that.
One was my dad.
I was going to ask you, Pauline, have you ever considered just writing a biography on one artist, on one musician?
Well, that's where I started with King Bolton. So
Would
we
you
did
consider
his-
do it again?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
If the right,
Sure.
music came up with the right
Yeah,
story.
Yeah.
What do you think would be, you know, things that would sway you to do it or not? Is it to do with the story, the struggle, character arc?
Yeah, the person themselves, the story, you know.
Because I've got a good one for you.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, go.
Chris Wilson?
Yeah.
Chris Wilson would be a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris would be great because it's also quite inspiring the way that he has left us, but he left this great legacy with his kids who are still like carrying the flame.
I don't feel I could do it justice. I don't feel I could do it justice because he was the king to me. I just thought he was the best. You know, but his wife Sarah, she's in book 2, and his sons are in book 3. So, yeah, that was another one. A lot of people have asked me about Dutch Tilders, and I've got a couple of people that knew him very well that are going to write a few things about him. So I will do a tribute to Dutch. Yeah. Yeah. Maxwell? Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you, have you done Ray Beadle? Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would be a great biography.
You know his story, though.
I know his story, and that would be a hell of a one. It should be made into a movie too.
But the thing is, I wouldn't have got this far if the people hadn't been great to deal with. And no egos. No one puffing up their ego, just telling their stories. So,
And that's all we are. We're a walking collection of stories, aren't we? We really are.
And you feel pretty humble, if I do say so, when, you know, Pauline contacts you and she goes, oh, look, you know, I think she said to me, basically, you've been on my... Got 4 pages left.
Hit list, oh, wrong conversation.
You've been on my hit list for quite a while. Are you interested? Like, hell yeah.
It's validation for us.
It really is.
I'll put my microphone in now.
$5,000 worth of gear. Drive for 500 k's to get you $50.
Then you get a fine, and then or you hit some. I had a gig the other day. It was like, I think it was $150, and my car got damaged by the camera. Yeah, and the gig cost me $900.
But there's so many people
as
that
well.
just working like that and for not much reward.
So
There's no money in it.
No.
We'll just keep big until the money runs out.
That's it. That's what we'll do.
But yeah, to be valid, it was very nice.
But come on, admit it. Even if you're making no money, you'd still be making music, right? Right? And that's part of our weakness, but it's our strength as well. You know what I mean?
It's a source of great joy.
Oh, it absolutely is. It springs eternal, right? No matter how many times I pick up that guitar, I'm always learning new shit, finding new sounds, finding new, being inspired. You know, I'm sure Will is. I'm sure every musician in here is.
Friendships for decades.
Absolutely, you know. I must admit, when I was younger, I played with, I think a crucial part, you probably have already worked this out, but if you're a young musician just starting out, play with people you like. Don't play with assholes.
Always play with people you like.
Always play with people you like. And in fact, the other week, last Saturday, Liza Olbach had her vocal workshop, which was fantastic. Everyone there was like going to church without the God part. And we were singing and loving it, and it was great. And she made a very good point. She said, because there was about 30 of us in the room, she goes, now turn to one another and sing at one another. Make eye contact. Make eye contact. And she said, this is how you should be when you're on stage with all of your musicians, whatever. Make eye contact. Don't ignore one another. Resonance. All right, I think I've talked enough because the microphone's turned against me. So, are there any questions for Paul?
I have a question
For sure.
When you talk about rock and roll, what do you mean by
Oh, just I'm very inspired by like Billy Thorpe, Lobby Lloyd, Matt Taylor, all that, Matt Lake. I'm from Sunbury. I mean, I was born in Fitzroy, but I spent all my time in Sunbury, so I always go down to where the site is, and I just think that Australian rock and roll, there's so much, and that's what I'm inspired by. The good old 60s and 70s rock and roll, like the Skyhooks and everything. So
Yeah. Oh wow.
that's what I like.
My first single was I Remember When I Was Young. And I was 7 and we were jumping into the pool. And it was awesome.
I want to bring that back. It's, you know, like Rose Tattoo was still going. My partner's band Hot Machine, they're playing with Rose Tattoo right now in Adelaide. They've got 2 shows at the Emu And then when I get back to Melbourne, we're playing with them Friday, Saturday. But to me, like they're my idols, and I just want to keep the rock and roll going. I love my blues music. I'm a blues musician. I'm a blues guitar player, but just with that harder edge of rock and roll.
I think for us too, because we're older, we were lucky to live through this music and to hear younger people enjoy this. Like we've got a 31-year-old, nearly 31-year-old daughter who loves all music, and especially blues and rock. So for us, we're really proud of that. And for me to hear a young person to say the same thing, it makes me feel really proud, like 100%. And it makes it worthwhile what I've done for the last 3 years.
Well, it's just real. I mean, all that music's so real,
Yep.
and they play live and they record live, and
Yep.
it's just like it is hard to do that. There's so many people that can, a lot of all that AI stuff. We don't have to get started about that, but just like anyone can kind of be a producer now and like release music, and it's just not real. And I play full stack Marshall amps because it pushes air and it's loud, and that's what it's about. I play with bands, and no disregard to them or disrespect, but with no amps on stage, it's like I don't get it. It's like fight for it, and when your ears are blocked and ringing for 3 nights or whatever,
Hey, we're all deaf.
it's like that's what it's about. It's like you got to work for it. It's a long way to the top, and that's I respect and appreciate that.
How's your dad?
He's going good.
Is he big moose or little moose?
As in,
I don't know. My husband talks when I talk about Barry Maxwell. I thought he said something about, is that big moose or little moose? Big moose or little moose? Oh, that's from a long time ago, don't worry.
Maybe there's something he hasn't told you.
I'm sure there's a lot of things.
Ask about the news story.
But he's doing really good. He's healthy. He's done so much for Melbourne Blues. It's wild, and him getting international acts as well for the Shake Shack. And he's a massive inspiration. I talk a lot about him in the book. And he's doing really good. He's happy, and the blues is keeping him alive.
That's what's doing to me. It's keeping me.
It's keeping away the blues, which is what it's about.
I'm sure it's a healer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
So I know that you love all those old rockers, because I do as well. They inspired me. The first paintings I ever did were portraits of Billy Thorpe, Lobby Lloyd, Ian Ryle, and Pete Wells. So they inspire me as well. What performance would you have loved to have seen back in the day? What would you have liked to have been present for?
Well, definitely, and wasn't even that long ago, but like Bogolo Jail, when Thorpe gets back from spending 17 years in America, like he went massive with Children of the Sun, that 70s album, and him coming back and him and Angry just running around, and what a lineup as well. And I've got it on DVD, but I would say that one for sure, or even Sunbury, like Deep Purple playing Sunbury. Wait, did they play? Did they play? I know there was that whole AC/DC drama backstage with the security guards or something. So I don't know if they. Does anyone know if they played or not? They did?
Recently, with the AC/DC bombs before them.
Yeah. I think they got pissed off about that or something.
Like that.
Yeah.
So he's not blowing up stage.
Yeah, I think it is. But yeah, definitely like Bogolo Jail, and what else? Like Allman Brothers, Phil Maurice, that live album, like being there, or even the Last Waltz as well. There's so many. There's so many.
Especially when Dr. John comes in.
Oh, there's
Dr.
so
John.
many.
I have another question that popped out of my head just then. All right.
Oh, don't you hate that?
I had something in my head and it's just disappeared. Oh, it's gone. Dementia. How? Any other questions for Pauline or for Will?
That's not a question.
All the best. Thank
Oh,
you.
that's it. In your book, at the rear of the book, you talk about, and there are many testimonials about Allan Stafford.
Yeah.
Maybe you could talk to us about, or tell everyone about Allan, because he seems like a very inspiring individual.
Yeah, well, he started the MBAS, and he and his wife did so much work. And the award is in his honour because he did so much.
And the story is like, I really love the way that he built the community. It was all about community and very self-effacing, never bringing himself into the picture. He was like in the back.
Yeah, that's right. And you find that there's always good people behind those big organisations like that put the hard work in and all the hours.
It's so lovely to, that he has that award is named after him. That's a great recognition for obviously something that is a legacy now. His legacy right down in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Which has created Will's inspiration as well, helped all of that.
Yeah.
And really, we, as part of the Sydney Blues Society, we feel inspired by what's happening down in Melbourne. We look to you guys and we go, man, whatever you guys are doing, we want some of that special sauce. We want to join in. There's no rivalry as far as we're concerned. It's all cooperation and collaboration. The more we're stronger together. This whole neoliberalism, there is no community, Thatcherism bullshit. That's dead in the ground. We know that. It's bullshit. There's only community. That's the real deal. And live music is nothing but community, right? It's always a community. Dan, up the back.
Hello. Hi. I've always watched Melbourne for probably 20 years of how they do it. And I've watched Sydney. And I think the resurgence in the Sydney Blues Society in the last 2 to 3 years is the best I've seen in 15 years. Have you noticed Melbourne, they've got 4 or 5, 10 go-to venues that maybe a certain person runs that, Way Out West, Shake Shack, Live the Bundy. They've had places that have been institutions for years. You guys are doing it in the city with the inner sports thing, different events. There are some, like this guy's probably up there with his crew, and a couple of things he used to do down south years ago. If we had half a dozen people to pick a place within an hour's drive of the city, which is kind of what Melbourne's done, and they just went bang at that place and just built. We have a very similar thing, but we just don't have it.
Well, we are attempting to do that. We have, as you said, we have Butcher's Brew Bar, Miss Sealy's, Piedmont Bridge Hotel. That's going quite well. That's been.
If you could get slightly regional but close enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, Michelle. Come on, well, you live out there. Go start speaking of a few venues. Look, we are a volunteer organisation. We attempt to do as much as we can to further the blues and to try and convince.
But it's not
Definitely
not on the Sydney Blues Society. It's just different little people if they just decide to take it up.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why everyone in the blues community can help out. It's not just up to the Sydney Blues Society committee.
No, it's definitely.
No, we're working as hard as we can, and we're coming up with as much as we can. Thank you. We really appreciate that. And part of what we've been doing the last couple of years is to bring all of these loose ends, because there were just these venues flailing, no one really speaking to one another, and no strategy.
It's noticeable.
Yeah, right. And since then we've gone, no, we need to kind of clarify what we're doing. We need to have a mission. We need to speak to the venues, and that's what we're doing. And we did look to Melbourne for inspiration and see what they're doing, because it's so successful. Why reinvent the wheel, right? We just, and we have tried to model our behaviours and what we're doing, and encouraging venues and helping venues out where we can. Because there's no point us having a scene if we have no venues. We need the venues, right? And we try and nurture venues. As soon as we hear of new venues turning up, or we try and get in there and say, hey, make it a blues venue, we can help out, we can advertise, etc., etc. And we continuously are doing that, But by all means, anyone that's involved in the Sydney Blues Society or not, you can join up, sydneyblues.org, $35 a year. Sorry, I had to throw that in. Sorry. But and by all means, come to our, we have committee meetings every month, and we have an annual general meeting every year. Everyone's allowed to nominate and become part of the committee. I've been on the committee now for a couple of years. Di's been on it for quite a few years, a bit longer. Yes, this is Di Ford, everyone. She's Vice President of the City Blues Society.
Two King's members here.
Yes, King's members. We have a lot of other Sydney Blues Society members in here, I'm sure.
But what you were saying, Dan, about the halls, that's we've got that Bundy Hall.
That's the future.
Will played there last weekend.
Yeah, played there last week with my band. It was awesome.
It's just a passionate person. So a good friend of mine started that, Barry Walker. He's not running it now, but he was just passionate about it, and it was, you know, one or two people. Yeah.
But we got Ryan Howard. It's not on the Blues Society at all, but I mean, if you get somewhere where you can get to within an hour, say, of the CBD, and it's a regional place, and you can just go like that, and all of a sudden you have what they do.
Yeah.
But we're pretty close, I reckon.
We need more members. We really need more members. More members will help as well, and more active membership. And more active membership is really what we need.
Some got said earlier on out of the blues student. Some got said to me a while back, and just California Honeycrops told Nathan Beretta, stop playing blues festivals.
Stop playing blues festivals.
And then, but sentence 2 was what made it sing. He said, if you're good enough and you hit, you go that way to other festivals. Guess who's coming back to the blues festivals next time you're on? And that might be something we've got to think about to generate interest back to the blues festivals, which are slowly not. Goes playing those festivals, try to get into those ones, And if you're good enough, young kids are going to go, like, sick.
Yeah. And that's what you do. You cross over a lot of different things. You do your big rock shows, and you do the small acoustic intimate ones. You played up at Tamworth with Uncle Bob's Jug Band.
I played with like a
all different
hillbilly
things.
band with a bush bass and all that. It was like, but I still got to do my thing. I still got to do some Black Sabbath covers and all that, and just like it was cool. We make it work. Keep it interesting. Always got to keep it interesting. I think for me as an artist, it's like I've got to do it all. If I can do it all, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, yes. We've covered venues now, we've covered blues societies. I don't think we can talk anything. What else have we got to talk about?
Can we buy a book?
Yeah, can we buy a book? Of course you can. Alright. So no more questions?
Sorry,
How about it?
Can I just say, because you were talking about the Melbourne Blues Society, last year Leah and I went down for the launch in Melbourne, and there was the challenge for Memphis on the next day, so we were extremely lucky, because originally we just planned to go to the launch. So I rang John in and said, look, can we get a couple of tickets? And he goes, they're all sold out. And I said, that's okay, we don't mind standing up, because we want to really see the bands, and we were there. So, but long story short, we got there. They couldn't do any more for us. They were so unbelievably obliging. They got a table and put it out us up the front, made sure that we were driven home and picked up the next day.
You got the Goodfellas treatment, mate.
Unbelievable.
Table down the front.
So,
They thought he was a senior.
and so, George, what I'm saying, if it would be good if a couple of members from the Blues Society just went and just saw, because it was mind-boggling how good.
I agree. I totally agree with you, Tony.
And Leah and I just looked at each other and said, this is not a 10 out of 10. It's 11. They're going beyond the call,
And as I said, we look to them as an example of where we need to be. So thank you for your input. Yeah, and that is on the cards. We would like to go down to Melbourne and speak with John and see how it all happens. And if we could be down there for the Blues Challenge, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And see how they do that. But at the very least, is it the Flemington Hotel where the jams are?
Yeah.
How far is that out of the centre of Melbourne?
Not too far. I'm in Kensington, so it's super close to me, so it's about a 5-minute drive. But I mean, you're only looking like 15, 20 minutes maybe from like the CBD.
And is it a house band with different special guests, or is it just different house bands every week?
There's there's a house band and then there's a jam as well. But there's usually like someone that will play, that there'll be like a solo artist or someone that's like their show. Yeah.
And do you go there often?
I have, and when was the last time I went? I went last year, and then I did my show there and all that. So yeah, but that's where they obviously do the
So it's a like nice little feeder mechanism to kind of bring new artists into the scene as well.
Absolutely, yeah, it's
And
really
that-
good.
And that's what we're trying to do with Sydney Blues Side as well, through the jams, is introduce new artists to, especially young artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're the ones I really want to push. You know, they're the ones that are going to bring more young people in.
Definitely.
You know,
and
it's
blues is cool. Blues is cool.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Finally.
It's cool.
Oh, finally, man.
It's cool, and it is cool, and I understand there's all these like other genres, you know, like heavy metal and kids. Well, I don't know what. Yes, I'm still young, but I don't know what the kids are listening to these days. I've got no idea.
Sea shanties.
You know, all that rap and that, you know, the bottom 40 on the radio.
Okay, this is a question. As a young musician, how do you feel about the whole hip hop thing? Would you ever collaborate with a hip hop musician?
I reckon I would.
I reckon you should.
There's who's that drummer from Hilltop the Hoods, or is it Bliss and Esso? But he's like a great drummer, and they all. I love those bands because they all like play guitar on their records, and it's all real.
I must admit, the passion is there in the hip hop. Some of that hip hop stuff is so authentic and real, and you just go, I get drawn into that stuff.
Yeah,
the rhythms, everything, and they're just
Well, it's like a blues thing. They tell a story, and people really listen, and the way that they say it. I guess the rap that I'm kind of completely against is like the auto-tune crap.
that crap I guess that's the stuff that's like the producers sort of take over and they just get some guy that can rhyme and they just.
That's it. Yeah.
It's usually without a message and it's just about, you know, being a gangster and having women and drugs and shit like that sort of thing. And usually they're just very shallow sort of.
Yeah, it's not real.
Shallow music.
It's not real, I guess, like with NWA and all that real stuff, and just like real instruments on board and samples, and like people like with vinyl and like scratching vinyl. That's real.
I grew up with like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Like the message was being played on the radio when I was growing up, and I was just like, "What is this incredible piece of music? I never heard anything like it." You know? A bit like when I first heard Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, what a band!
What a band! I saw Tom Morello the other week. Oh, what a guy! Killer. One of my favourite guitarists, Tom Morello. Anyway.
I love that.
Oh yeah, that's great. Killer. All right, we've talked about guitar now. What else can we talk about? I think we've covered everything. Any other questions from the lovely audience? What a lovely audience we've had. And thank you to Butcher's Brew Bar for putting this thing on. And for Pauline and her lovely husband for driving Pauline all the way up from the Gippsland. Dave, thank you. And thank you to Will. And please go check out Will. He's playing all over the place, and check out his music. The 6v6s, yes, he's playing here afterwards.
Yeah, 4:30 is it, Caroline?
4:30 with Luke Herbert and Jesse Redwing and Harry Bruce.
Oh yes.
It's going to be killer.
George,
Tony.
originally, I said to Pauline, "Oh look, you know, we're just coming for the launch. We won't stay for the gig because we're going to a restaurant." Pauline said, "Check out Willie." And we checked him out, and within minutes, I booked tickets. The guy
Testimonials in real time. That's what we're talking about. That's the deal.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. For
Testimonials
the
in
support.
real time, real feedback. Thank you, Tony. Well, there you go. So if any of you are in any doubt, buy a ticket and stick around for Will Kirk because he's only in Sydney for a few more days.
Yeah. Yep. Leave Monday. So.
Yep.
We'll make the most.
Check it out. You're right here. You're right here in the Butcher's Brew Bar. Might as well hang out. And Jesse's great as well. And of course Harry, like that guy just keeps going and going and going. Like man, he's played. He what from the 70s? He was like with Jeff St. John. 60s.
played with Ray Burgess in the
What?
You're the same age as me.
What? I know he's 76. He turned 76 just recently. Wow, that guy. Whatever he bathes in, whatever he's drinking, give me some of that shit. How about a big thank you to Pauline and Will? big thank you to Frankie behind the bar and Caroline at the Brew Bar. Please stick around for, as I said, for Will with Jesse Redwing and Luke and buy a book, of course. Buy all of them. They're all there. And you can buy them online as well if you run out here. But better to buy them here. You can take them home. You get them signed. You can get them signed,
It's like
autographed.
getting a CD, right?
Huh?
It's like a
Yeah,
CD.
absolutely. Exactly the same. And they're all self-published, right? So help out the publisher. That's it.
Pick it up.
All right. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and evening.